Your wedding guests aren't going to remember your wedding for it being perfect. They're probably not even going to remember it for being good. The things they're going to remember about your special day are how they felt, the moments where they felt included, and the experiences that you provided. I was on a call the other day with a couple, and the bride was really stressing out over the decor, the flowers, what was going to happen during the wedding breakfast, and the food that was provided. And the couple was sitting there talking to me for about 5 minutes, saying how they've been to about 4 different weddings this year, and how everything that they remembered was essentially the experiences they had, the entertainment, bands and things of that nature that happened on the dance floor, the moments they shared with guests and strangers. Let me ask you guys this. If you've been to a wedding recently, what colour were the flowers that were there? What was the colour scheme of the decor? Do you even remember what you had for your main course or dessert? The likely chance is you don't remember any of these. They never do get remembered at weddings. And it always baffles me when couples spend hours of their time spending hundreds, if not thousands of pounds, focusing on these elements of their special day, and they're not even going to be remembered by their guests for the most part. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that you can get away with having bad things for your wedding day. If you turned up to a wedding and there was a load of flowers and they're all dead, 100% your guests are going to remember your wedding for the couple who got a load of flowers that died on the day. So I'm not saying you have to get bad suppliers or bad products for your special day. But what I am saying is you don't need to spend endless amounts of time and unlimited amount of money to make sure that everything looks perfect. Your guests, for the most part, aren't going to remember these minute little details. However, as I said in the beginning, they are going to remember how they felt, the moments that they shared with your friends and family, and the experiences that you ultimately provided. So today what we're going to go through is we're going to go through essentially a few little bits and pieces of how the human brain works. Some of you may know that I also work as a behavior profiling coach, teaching personality types, things of that nature. And I'm fascinated with how the brain is wired to remembering things. It's such an obsession for me for my magic performances, when I'm networking. I also run a video marketing agency, so we're always talking about how we can grab people's attention, pique their curiosity, keep that attention, and guide them using a story. So there's essentially three main ways that your brain remembers things. Our brain is emotionally driven. If we feel a positive emotion when something happens, there's studies say that we are way more likely to remember it. And on the flip side, if we're experiencing feelings like fear, stress, anxiety, worry, we're more likely to forget those moments. So remember that your brain remembers things and it's driven by the emotion you're feeling at any given point. Another really fantastic way to get your brain to remember things, guys, is what we call a surprise that breaks the pattern. Now, this can be done in a variety of ways. I've been hired at weddings where I'm a surprise magician or a surprise pickpocket, which is even funnier. Singing waiters are fantastic for this. Right after the wedding breakfast, you see one of the waiters trip over, smash a cup, and it all goes crazy. And then boom, they're into their sing song and they surprise the whole crowd. And I can almost guarantee you, every single one of the wedding guests who's been to a wedding where there's singing waiters, those singing waiters are going to be one of the most remembered things about the special day. And the reason for that is it's a surprise. And then the final thing that you've got to bear in mind how our brain works, guys, is we remember things based off how our senses interacted with that at the moment. So things like we saw, what we smelled, what we heard, even down to what we feel, physically and emotionally. So they're the three elements you can play with to make sure that people remember your special day, remember your wedding for all the right reasons. There's a few key brain principles that I'm going to really quickly shoot through here. One of them being, as human beings, our attention is limited. Guests are only going to pay attention to what emotionally engages them. If they're not emotionally engaged, you're going to start seeing people pull out their phones, scrolling, kind of looking up at the sky, wondering what's going on, experiencing boredom. Number two, the brain locks in on emotion. We mentioned this very briefly before, but if you're experiencing things like joy, awe, laughter, surprise, you get what's called memory retention, and you're more likely to remember these experiences. Like I said, on the flip side, if there's stress, confusion, boredom, those moments, more often than not, they're going to be forgettable. So where do most couples go wrong when it comes to planning their special day with these things in mind? The number one thing, and this happened with a couple that I spoke to quite recently, was they're obsessing over perfection and the aesthetics, how the wedding day looks. And these often fade in the background. They're not really rememberable. You're only playing with one sense essentially with these things. You can only see them most of the time. Sometimes you'll be lucky if you can hear them. 2, overscheduling without building time for real connection. This happens when, as a wedding couple, you tend to book in every single supplier you meet. You want to get in 16 different entertainment acts. You've got 17 different types of flowers at your wedding. You've got like an 8-course meal, which takes hours to devour, and most of the food goes to waste anyway. You're overscheduling and you're oversupplying for your special day. More often than not, just sprinkling a few of these things in here and there, they work better than going OTT, also known as over the top. And then the biggest mistake I see couples making, they completely forget about how their guests are going to feel during the quiet parts of the day, when they're going to be whizzed off for the photographs for the guests who aren't as involved in this, during the wedding breakfast, the turnaround period before the evening reception. They completely forget what their guests are going to be experiencing, and they forget how they're going to feel. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be bored, they're going to be confused. There's nothing there to stimulate their senses, so why would they remember it? Obviously, being a magician, mind reader, hypnotist, and a pickpocket for weddings, my kind of entertainment is perfect for keeping these energy levels up. Everything that I perform is designed to make sure people remember your special day, all the right reasons, bringing laughter or joy, and getting them to share experiences, not just with myself, but with each other. So the reason why this works so well is, 1, magic is interactive. We are literally being paid as magicians to become a special guest at your wedding, whose sole mission is to roam around during the day and make sure everyone is having a fantastic time. We interact with your guests, we have conversations with them. Of course, we perform magic as well. But during this process, 9 times out of 10, we're actually creating genuine connections with your friends and family to make sure they have an unforgettable experience during your special day. This goes on to the second point why it works so well. It creates shared moments with your guests. We get to share the experience with not just one person, but with a group of people. You very rarely see magicians perform for one person on your special day. We're looking for groups of 3 to 8, 10, 12 people. We'll have different tricks and performance sets for different types of crowds. But again, we're creating shared moments with everyone. It plays on curiosity and wonder. These are primal triggers for the human brain to remember things. Because magic's one of those things where it's, you don't know what's going to happen. There's always that little bit of curiosity, what's going to happen next. And then when something does happen, the card disappears, a coin appears, we pick their pocket, hypnosis, whatever it may be, we've created a moment of wonder for that person. And they're going to remember that for years to come, if not the rest of their life. And then the final reason why magic works so well for weddings is, even if people don't like magic, here's a fun little fact. People who don't like magic have never experienced someone who really knows what they're doing, or they've just seen bad magicians. And unfortunately, there's a lot of shit magicians on this planet. The moment they meet someone like myself, like some of the people that I work with, they love it. They really do. Even the people who hate magic will give me 5 minutes of their time to experience something awesome, purely because I've been doing this for over 10 years now, guys. I know what I'm doing. You can't look away from something that is unexpected. This is what magic is all about. It's always unexpected, and people are going to be drawn into it. The amount of times that a magician will start performing for a group of 4, and midway through the routine, they've now got a group of 12, will absolutely shock you. And you'll know a magician's doing a really good job at your wedding, guys, because you'll hear laughters round the venue as you're being pulled left, right throughout the day, getting photos, meeting people. You're just going to hear screams of laughter, oh my God, things of that nature. And at that moment, you will know they're going to remember that moment at your wedding for the rest of their life. So I've got some top tips for couples that are planning their wedding day to make sure that their guests are going to remember them for all the right reasons. We're going to go through them right now. So add some unexpected, joyful moments, think surprise elements, and interactive entertainment. Obviously, we've already mentioned the magic. We've got singing waiters, which are fantastic for surprise. Character curious are really good ones as well. Keep them a surprise. Have someone come approach them. Would you like your picture drawn? Doesn't have to be a single person. This can be done for couples, families, and they're also left with a nice little surprise present to take home with them. Most people just whack that on their fridge. Some will even get these pictures framed. Loosen up the control so guests can create memories naturally. Now, a lot of couples, when it comes to planning their wedding day, you're going to be planning it minute by minute, and it feels like you're going to end up herding a load of sheep to doing whatever you want on the day. Loosen up a little bit. Have periods of the day where there's a little bit of freedom for your guests to go around, check out the venue, go check out what entertainers you've got booked in, go see the photo booth, and really soak up moments for themselves and meet new people on the day. This will guarantee you that your guests will have an unforgettable time and create their own experiences and moments. Think in emotional beats, not just time slots. This is why I often say to people, do a wedding guest audit. And all the wedding guest audit, if you've not seen my previous podcast, you imagine that you're being a wedding guest at your own wedding from the start of the day of the ceremony all the way up to the evening reception. And essentially you're looking for dead zones. Things that are a little bit slower in energy, there's not much going on during the day, photographs just after the wedding ceremony, the wedding breakfast, again, you could have a bunch of people who don't know each other on the table. It's going to be a bit of the slow point of the day, waiting around for food. And then, of course, you've got that turnaround period just before the evening reception where the venue staff are going to turn the room round. DJ often comes in, sets up at this point, and make sure that everything's ready for your evening reception. Once you start thinking like this, guys, you'll start to easily identify what parts of the day are going to naturally be high in energy, going to have good times, people will have stuff to do, they'll be able to mix and mingle. But those periods where the energy level dips a little bit, these are the time slots where you want to start thinking, do I need to get some entertainment in during this point? Maybe I should get some garden games in so there's stuff for the adults and the kids to do. You know, when you start thinking like this, you'll find that there's less of those dead zones in your wedding day, and you won't have to worry so much about your guests getting bored. So if you want people talking about your wedding next year, the next decade, create feelings and moments for them. Don't just create moments where it's going to be good for the photographer to take a picture. It's not really going to work out. But what I am trying to remind you guys is your energy could be better spent identifying those moments where it's going to be slow so you can keep those energy levels up for you and your wedding guests on the day. And it also means during the day, you'll be able to sit back, relax a little bit more and actually enjoy it. So guys, that's pretty much it for today's podcast. I'm going to round it up right now. My name's Greg Holroyd, magician, mind reader, hypnotist, pickpocket, available for weddings and corporate events. If you do have an event or wedding coming up in the future, feel free to check out my website at www.gregholroyd.co.uk. Feel free to drop your comment here. Till then, guys, happy wedding planning and peace out.